This video classroom lesson is sponsored by Transmission Bench. Visit the transmissionbench.com store for the deluxe super kit, other parts, and even the video classroom lessons used during this project.
Hello again. This is Project 4L60E, Part 1, Lesson 2. Let me introduce the star of our project, and it's not me. Our celebrity for the rest of the project is a somewhat stained but pretty clean 4L60E. It has even more of an identity, and you'll find it right here. This tag provides a lot of information. The first character, 4, denotes production year 2004. The next two, C and K, indicate it was paired to a 5.3-liter engine. D means 4L60E. There is more info on the tag, and if you want to learn more about identification, watch my video entitled 4L60E Design Changes and Tags. The 4L60E has evolved since its introduction in 1992. And even though I use only this 2004 version for demonstration, I will discuss earlier and later variations. Our star is special on the inside too. It was taken apart, cleaned, and reassembled dry, but with deliberate flaws. This way we can discover together the typical problems you can expect to find, but without the messy transmission fluid. Our goals for this lesson are to remove the cooling lines, neutral safety switch, bell housing, vehicle speed sensor, extension housing, and vent hose. So let's get started. You'll need these tools: a small screwdriver, 8mm 1/4-inch socket, 13 and 15mm sockets, a Torx Plus bit, 3/8 to 1/2-inch adapter, a few extensions, ratchets, a 15mm wrench, flat file, gloves, safety glasses, and a small box. I know this is technically a transmission removal topic, but disconnecting the cooling lines can be frustrating, especially in a dimly lit, cramped space under the vehicle. So let me share with you a few tips, and you need to put your glasses on. This is a short section of cooling line I'll use to demonstrate. Start by pulling the plastic retainer away from the case fitting like this. Take a small screwdriver and lift up the edge of the wire clip while holding your fingers over it to keep it from flying out. Work it all the way out by lifting up in the center. Now you can easily pull the line out. Go ahead and replace the clip. Reinstalling the line is simple. Just push it in and replace the retainer. I hope this helps when you're removing a transmission from the vehicle. And another thing while you're under the vehicle. Removing the neutral safety switch can appear to be simple, but you can damage it, so here's another tip. You need to file the selector shaft in this area, or the switch will be ruined as you try to slide it off of the shaft. I also recommend not attempting to unplug the wiring harness. Sometimes the connectors are glued to the switch, so it's better to leave the entire assembly together under the vehicle. Let's remove the 13mm bolt here. And here. take a flat file and file the shaft in this area. It's hard to see, but it's mushroomed here, where the shift lever is fastened. Now you can slide the switch off the shaft. Look at the hole and shaft closely and notice how the flat areas index together. If you don't file the raised area down, it flares this hole and destroys the switch. To work properly, it must fit tight on the selector shaft like this. Once again, try to do this before removing the transmission from the vehicle. Removing the bell housing is just about impossible unless you get this tool. This is the special Torx style bit I mentioned in lesson 1. It's a Torx Plus 50 IP bit. The Sonex part number is 77000HBK. I pressed mine into a 3/8 drive Craftsman brand bit holder. To get the bell off, put the tool on a 3/8 to 1/2 inch adapter. Get a 10-inch or longer 1/2 inch extension and ratchet. Make sure you wear gloves to protect your hands because this edge is very sharp. These bolts are torqued pretty tight, so you may need to use a cheater pipe like I do sometimes. You may also need someone to help hold the transmission in place or even resort to clamping it to the workbench. Again, the bolts will be very tight, so try to keep the ratchet head steady as you break all the bolts loose. Finish removing all 8 bolts and put them in the box. Remove the bell housing and set it on the other bench. If you're working on a 2-wheel drive model, remove the vehicle speed sensor now. Use a 5/16 or 8mm socket to remove the retainer bolt. Twist and pull out the sensor. Put both of them in the box. As a side note, the 4-wheel drive does not have a speed sensor on the transmission. It's located on the transfer case. Use a 15mm socket or wrench to remove the 6 bolts attaching the extension housing. If you're working on a 1993 through 1995 and some 1996s, there are only 4 bolts. There should be an O-ring located here. Don't remove it. Set the housing on the bench. If you're working on a 4-wheel drive model, remove the adapter housing the same way and place it on the bench. Your last step in this lesson is to remove the vent hose. If you have a clamp here, use pliers to slide it back down the hose. Pull the hose off and put it in the box. This hose is actually an important safety device to help prevent fires. It keeps fluid from spraying onto the exhaust system where it could ignite. Make sure to put it back on later. That's it for now. In Lesson 3, we'll turn the transmission over and work in the valve body area.